Hello, my name is George Clements, and welcome to this video tutorial of John Lennon's song Across the Universe. If you'd like to become a patron of mine and support me, consider following the link below, and for $5 a month you can gain access to videos like this, as well as a monthly live concert stream. Alright, with that said, let's tune up and dive right in. Alright, so this song is in the key of D, and we're going to be playing out of a drop D tuning. So we've got a low D, an A, another D, G, a B, and an E. So it's pretty much standard tuning, except for dropping that low E down a whole step to another D. So it should match your other D string. Alright, so I'm going to play it for you now. And my voice is a little bit weak right now because I'm getting over a little bit of a cold, but it's really high, so I'll do my best to sing it. So here we go. 3, 4. Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither while they pass and slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my open mind, possessing and caressing me. Jai Guru Deva. Oh, nothing's gonna change my world. 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 Images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Thoughts meander like a restless wind inside a letterbox. They tumble blindly as they make their way across the universe. Jai Guru Deva. Oh, nothing's gonna change my world. 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 Sounds of laughter, shades of life are ringing through my open ears, inciting and inviting me. And limitless, undying love shines around me like a million suns. It calls me on and on across the universe. Jai Guru Deva. Oh, nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. So now we're going to take it phrase by phrase and just break it down and see what the right hand is doing, see what the left hand is doing, and see how we're going to get them to dance together. So let's take it from the beginning in that intro. So the first phrase goes like this. So I'm starting with my middle finger and my ring finger on the two outside notes of a regular D major triad or chord here that we play, but I'm just going to take the outer two notes, not worry about that middle note, and that's the interval of a sixth. That note there is A, that note there is F sharp, and that interval is a sixth. It's a really pretty interval on the guitar. So this riff kind of makes use of sixths. So it goes, I'm going to do a big squeeze with my thumb, index, and ring. So squeeze, and I'm going to hit that other open D string after. So it's like squeeze, thumb. Now what are these two notes? These two notes, that's an F sharp, and that's a D. Those are the outer two notes of another D major triad. Because this is a D major triad, and that's another D major triad up there in 10th position. So we've got. And we're going to keep those sixths going down. Now that right there is a little F sharp minor triad. So. So I got that F sharp, my middle finger is hitting that on the B string, and my pinky finger is playing that note on the 7th fret of the B string. And then we're going to go to this shape here. So we've got an F sharp on the 4th fret of the low D string, another F sharp on the 4th fret of the D string, higher D string here, and then we're going to get the note A with our first finger, and then we're going to use our ring finger over here to hit the B string, open B string. So it goes squeeze, ring, squeeze, ring. Then we're going to do that same pattern on an A sus chord. Okay, so let's try that whole intro together now. So, nice and slow. 3, 4. End with just one index finger on the D string. All right, so that's the intro. All right, here is the first verse. So this pattern for our right hand is one that's going to be used quite a bit. So let's practice that independently before we start going through chord changes. So let's just hold a D sus2 chord shape with our left hand. And this pattern goes like this. It goes thumb, index, middle, index. Then we're going to do a squeeze on the D string and the high E string between our ring finger and our thumb. And then we're going to do index, middle, index. So it sounds like this. You want to make make sure your right hand is very relaxed when it's doing this. We don't want any tension in our arms. So kind of just get comfortable with that kind of pattern in your right hand, because it's going to be pretty much one of the two main patterns that we use in this song. So we start on a D sus2 chord, and it does that pattern. And then we're going to put our ring finger down on the F sharp of the D string. And we're going to do two of those instead of going back to the low D string, so it's like. Right? Then we're going to go to an F sharp minor 7 shape, the same F sharp minor shape we had in at the beginning, that bit in the intro. Same shape. Doing that same right hand pattern. Now we're going to slide these two fingers down to fret 2 to make an E minor chord. Same pattern. Now we're going to go to an A7 sus4, and I like to finger this like this. So now our root is shifted to the 5th string, so, but still the same pattern, just the root location is shifted, right? Right, and then we repeat that. We go back to D sus2. D sus2 with an F sharp in the bass. F sharp minor 7. E minor. Now we're going to go into a slide that up to a G minor. So I'm still got these same two notes, and then I'm making a mini bar with my first finger across the top 3 strings at the top, at the 3rd fret. So right? So that's the whole first verse. So just take it nice and slow, and just always be aware of keeping this hand relaxed, and where is the root? What string is the root on? Because that's going to determine where your thumb motion is, right? We always want to think about the thumb is taking the notes on the low D string, the A string, or the other D string, kind of the bass. I call these the bass strings. And then our fingers are on the top 3 strings, the G string, the B string, and the E string. And so most of our patterns is our thumb is going to be either going between the D and the D, or the A and the D. And that's kind of how I like to arrange it in my mind. There's the thumb pattern, and then there's the finger pattern. And it's where do they line up? And where they line up is usually what I call a squeeze. There's going to be a thumb and a finger congruence there. So just be aware of that as you're practicing, and just take it nice and slow. All right, let's dive into the chorus. All right, so for the chorus, our right hand pattern is going to change a little bit. It goes to this kind of starting with a squeeze between the top 2 fingers on the high B and E string, and then followed by an index. So that's the basic pattern. Squeeze, index, thumb, index. And it just repeats, right? So our thumb rhythm is changing. It's going to go boom, gum, bum, boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, bum, boom, ba, ba, while the fingers go. Right? All right. So let's just dive into the whole chorus now. So we start with that pattern on a D major chord. Then we're going to do an A sus4 to a regular A. So for the A sus4, I like to do a bar with my first finger and then use the ring finger to get the sus4. Sus stands for suspension. Just means you're taking the third of the chord, which usually would be C sharp here, and raising it up to the fourth, the note that's a fourth above the root, in this case A. Instead of the third, we got the fourth. And it really wants to resolve back to the third. Right? Okay. So that's what a sus4 is, just in case that was a mystery. So we've got D, D sus2, D sus4, to D, to A sus4, so that whole measure is ba ba boo boo ba ba, thumb, fingers, thumb. Alright, so that's how the chorus begins. Alright, for this next bit, we're going to be kind of doing that same right hand pattern, and we're going to be doing we're going from an A sus4 to an A regular A to an A7. So that's our left hand is going to be doing. And then the right hand just does that same kind of pattern we were doing earlier. It goes. To A. Right, once again, a little slower. And then we're going to go to a G major 7 chord shape. So my pinky's got to reach all the way down to the 5th fret of the low D string. Then we're going to do open G, the D on the B string, 3rd fret, and the F sharp on the high E string, which is the major 7 of a G major chord. So instead of just having a regular G, we're going into the 7th to give it that little cooler sound. So we're going to do that same pattern. And then lift our first finger right to get more like a G major 6. So we're going from the 7th, do it twice, to the 6th, and then back to D major with a little hammer on. And this is a little thing. That's kind of our little lick at the end of this phrase. So it's that's a pull off with my 4th finger to my 3rd finger, ending with the thumb. Pull off, thumb, index, middle, thumb. So I'll play those 4 measures now together, starting from the A sus4. So nothing's gonna change my world. A7, here comes G major 7. Nothing's gonna change my world. And then it repeats. Nothing's gonna change my world. A to A7, G major 7. Nothing's gonna change my world. Alright? So that's the whole chorus. It's a lot simpler than it sounds. It's just a whole lot of the same pattern. And you know, this chord is probably the hardest thing that happens just because it's a bit of a stretch with the pinky. And if your pinky hasn't gotten used a lot, it's probably the weakest of the hand. I'm trying to think if there's another way to do it, but it's kind of the only option. You can maybe try and reach with your third finger if that kind of reach for you is comfortable. For me, it's a bit of an uncomfortable thing, so I try and use my pinky. Alright, so just take that nice and slow, and slowly speed up the pattern the more the right hand and the left hand get synced up. But don't speed it up until you kind of got the flow down at a slower tempo. Alright, so now we're back at verse 2. And verse 2 is pretty much just like verse 1, except the chord changes slightly change, but not much. It's more that they don't change. As you remember, in verse 1, we ended with this G minor chord to take us into the chorus. But in verse 2, he just kind of does the same thing, ending on a A sus4, and then goes to an A7 to take us into the chorus. So no G minor chord. So it sounds like this. It's like, images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. And the second half starts with thoughts. Thoughts meander like a restless wind inside a letterbox. They tumble blindly as they make their way across the universe. Right, so it kind of goes to that A7. And the way I'm playing that is just like that, and then adding the G up there with you can either do it with your ring, I like to do it with my pinky, and then that takes us back to the chorus. So it's just a slight alteration John Lennon did to kind of create a little bit of difference between the first verse and the second verse. So I'll play that again nice and slowly. So, second verse. Images of broken light which stands before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Thoughts meander like a restless wind inside a letterbox. They tumble blindly as they make their way across the universe. Right, that's kind of, we go to eighth notes there instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 1, 2, to kind of prepare us for the chorus. So. Because that's kind of the rhythm we're going to be doing, is kind of that squeezing. So we're kind of setting ourselves up to go back into that chorus rhythm. Right after the ohm bit, and then we're back to A sus4. Nothing's gonna change my world. A7, G7. Gonna change my world. Here comes our little leg. Alright, and then back to A sus4. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's So that's verse 2 into the second time the chorus happens. All right, we just have one more verse, one more chorus, and we've got the outro. All right, so after the second chorus, I generally like to go back and play the intro riff again, just because it's a nice way to give the voice a break and to try and remember the lyrics, because there's so many of them. So we go back and we do that little intro. Starting on verse 3, which is sounds of laughter. So it's the same pattern. This time we're going to go to the G minor first. Right? So that's how he changes it up the third verse. He goes to the G minor first. So goes, sounds of laughter, shades of life are ringing through my open ears, inciting and inviting me. Because we haven't heard that yet. Usually it's comes second time around, but now it's the first time. And then it goes to limitless, undying, and love. So limitless, undying love shines around me like a suns, it calls me on and on. And then it goes to the A7 across the universe. Right? So it changes the order each verse. So if you have the tab, you can see this, that the verse 1 kind of is an almost A-B construction. And then verse 2 has an A construction. This is in terms of phrasing, how it's ending. And then verse 3, it kind of flips it. It's a B-A construction. In terms of verse, like melodic and harmonic structure. So that's just something to be clear on. It helps me when I'm performing to kind of have a little bit of an understanding of what the composer was doing when they were arranging the chords and how they were ordering them. So, verse 3, we have the G minor after the first verse, and after the second line, it goes to the A sus to the A7, right? So it sounds like this. Sounds of laughter, shades of life are ringing through my open ears, inciting and inviting me. Limitless, undying love shines around me like a million suns. It calls me on and on across the universe. Now we're in our final chorus. Jai Guru Deva. We're back to that second finger picking, the squeeze. And then our nothing's gonna change the world bit. My world. Nothing's gonna change my world. A7. Riff. Nothing's gonna change my world. Right? Nothing's gonna change my world. Alright, and now this is the outro. He just goes from D to D sus to D4 back to D 4 times while saying Jai Guru Deva Om. Jai second time. Sometimes it's nice to give a little push on that. Boom, 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 boom. You're gonna accent the down. Boom. again. The riff. And then this little outro thing I made up, we go. Then we're gonna slide up to 7, and then the 5th fret of the E string, and then slide that same shape up 2 frets, and then end with just a D triad here, and that's it. And that's the whole song. Congratulations, you've made it across the universe. Hope you had fun. Alright, thanks again everyone for watching this video. I just want to leave you with a few other tips. Sometimes it's helpful to practice those right hand patterns without the left hand. So, and just have a metronome and slowly get it faster and faster. You know, slowly click up, another click, slow it back down. And then the second pattern, which we use in the chorus. So just practicing with open strings can help you get a clearer sense of what the right hand is doing. Another thing I should mention is I do have nails on my right hand, which helps, I think, get a little bit more of an attack on the strings. I'm also using a Dunlap XL pick, which I like the tone of. So yeah, just remember to take it slow and have fun. If you'd like to support me, feel free to follow that link below, and you can sign up to my Patreon for $5 a month. You'll gain access to a full tablature as well as a chord sheet. And I'm going to be doing a performance of some of my favorite songs once a month. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. One more thing, my guitar was tuned to 432 for this video instead of 440, just because it was easier to sing at. Alright, take care and happy practicing.